go through that process, they usually get over the line, whereas some of the smaller players have more difficulty in raising funds. We've also done sensitivity analysis, looking at both high and low scenarios. A couple of things to note. What isn't in the modelling are facilities which are proposed, which might have been announced, but haven't yet submitted a planning application. And obviously, we can't read the future, no crystal ball, facilities which haven't been announced yet. So I guess what I'm saying is the overall picture that we might present might be slightly conservative in the amount of capacity which will come online because of those facilities we just simply don't know about as yet. So to look at what the capacity gap looks like at the moment, I think on the left talks about the 24 million tonnes, which is currently the current gap. We've got at the bottom this big brown bar. This is the amount of waste that actually goes to something called land recovery, reuse sort of within industrial processes. Big green bar, which is recycled, or food waste, which goes to composting and aerobic digestion. And as I said, we've got this rising from around 50. Rather than percent, I know, but rising from 50% now up to 67% of the total waste stream in 2020. Then we've got the residual treatment capacity, modelled according to the assumptions that I just presented in yellow, rising up here to sort of increase there. And if you look at the total waste arising, broadly on a national picture, under our central assumption, I don't think we'll be reaching sort of any situation of overcapacity until about 2020. Albeit, as I mentioned, that does exclude things which we don't know are in the system as yet. We've done a bit of sensitivity analysis. I won't go into detail of the assumptions right now. They are set out in the report. We'll talk about it a bit later. But you see, if you look at sensitivity, there's always different ways when you're making assumptions, different ways of cutting the cloth as to how you do that. But under our high scenario, we obviously get into a situation of overcapacity far earlier, perhaps in about 2015, 2016, whereas under our sort of low development scenario, you have a situation of undercapacity still at 2020. So that really just sort of sets the scene for the analysis. To drill down, look at a regional level, which I think when things start to get interesting. I imagine a lot of you have, and the equity funds particularly, have a lot of proposals coming through the door from plant saying, well, have a look at us. Can you do some, can you do some due diligence or get towards that? Perhaps looking at information like this allows one to weed out from an early stage, from a feedstock availability perspective, whether a plant is interested, whether it's worth looking further at a plant and drilling down, spending your time, which I know is valuable, in looking at in more detail. So we've taken one or two regions just as examples. South East England, same chances for the national situation, but you've got certainly quite a much more congested, as it were, situation whereby the amount of treatment capacity currently operating or under construction, plus that in consenting, is not too far below the actual waste which is going to be available for treatment. When it gets more interesting again, to move on to what happens in the future once those assumptions over recycling rates and other things are taken into consideration. You can see under our central scenario, we start to see that crossover of the lines perhaps in about 2016, when beyond that period, if you have merchant capacity in the plant, it starts to become slightly more shaky as to whether you would want to be investing in a facility in that area. One thing worth mentioning is that certainly when we do site-specific bespoke analysis, we don't confine that to regional areas, and this is a regional analysis. Obviously, if you have a plant based near a regional border, you'd certainly look to access waste across that border as well. And indeed, between England and Wales and England and Scotland. But again, the sensitivity analysis, if a lot of those plants in consenting don't go forward to financial flows, perhaps we won't reach a sort of overcapacity at all. So there is certainly tunes to play on that. Let's look at Wales. Very different situation from the South East. Only about just under 600,000 tonnes of treatment capacity either operating or under construction. Significant announcement the other day. Covanta, one of the big US energy from waste operators, actually effectively gave up on the consenting process for a large plant in Merthyr Tydfil, I think about 700,000 or 800,000 tonnes. We've made a massive dent in this facility, in this modelling. It's actually been quite challenging. We've been updating our database until actually late last night. The amount of change that is going on in the sector to actually keep this information up to date. But as we can see in this situation, still, even if all of the facilities, including those on which planning has just been submitted and not consented, there is likely to be a lot of opportunity. Future capacity gap, even under our high success development scenario, we're still looking at a significant capacity gap in 2020. So there are regions across the UK where there are, from this perspective, a lot of opportunity. Just going to touch a bit more regional infrastructure data. This is included within our report. Again, apologies, that slide's gone a bit awry. This kind of information, we list every single facility across all the regions. There's just some of the information included here. Obviously, the operator, facility name, technology, capacity of that facility, the development status. There are some there which actually say proposed below, and the electrical output, if appropriate, and also what feedstocks that facility is treating, and if there are importantly, what municipal solid waste, or I should say local authority waste contracts are in place, because that often, for the more I guess cautious of lenders, that is where you get your base load for your investment. Location facilities within the report, we have GIS maps of all the plants where they're located around the different regions. Just an example of the southwest. We've included the facilities which are under appeal or judicial review. That's changed the status of the Cornwall incineration project a number of times in the past few months, but that is on there. And as we said, before, broadly the plants tend to be clustered around the main sort of urban areas, which is sensible from a transport perspective. So, summary of key messages. The market is subject to rapid change. I won't talk about our databases again. From a national perspective, the capacity gap is closing, but there are still opportunities, and particularly in some regions, certainly than others. How can this information be useful to you? Well, we hope, as I said, it might enable some sort of quick decision making, weeding out those that shouldn't be of interest. And although I recognise, as I said before, that in some cases, when you get further down the line with an investment, going and doing site-specific analysis, which, surprise, we do offer as well, is also going to be necessary. So, how to access the information that I've just presented today, available for all regions. We're just publishing, due to go live at midday today on our website, a residual waste infrastructure report. We've got a free report which is going to be updated every 6 months. If you put your email address to our website, you can download that, and we'll also send you the next copy in 6 months' time. That includes national data presented on both current and future capacity gaps, the facility capacity gap. There's regional data. I do say that is just on the current capacity rather than the future modelling or the actual details on the facilities and the facilities map, but also does include a number of different types of facilities. So I think I'm getting towards the end of my talk. 1 or 2 minutes, just in time for my shameless plug. It's not actually visible. There's a detailed report available online for purchase, as well as the free report. I'm going to do my market trade a bit. I got sent a report the other day, which was actually not too dissimilar to ours. It cost £5,000. We're not asking £5,000. We're not asking £1,000. We're asking £385. And I said for that you do get another report in 6 months' time, which will be fully updated. So please visit our website and have a look at the information at the email address. As I said, we think this thing